All right, we're live. Thanks.
All right, great. Let's call to order the Memorial Naming Committee special meeting of Tuesday, December 13th of 2022 at 6 p.m. The first item up on the agenda after calling to order, this is our first meeting in I think a bunch of years. In any event, I think Ray, maybe we'll start with you, but we'll go around and have everybody just say who they are as a member of the committee.
Can you see, is my video up?
Your
Yes.
video's up.
All right, okay. Ray Carpentino, town manager. I'm just sitting in watching.
So the formal committee has a makeup of one Republican counselor, one Democratic counselor, one Republican at-large Republican committee member, one Democrat at-large Democrat committee member, and one staff person. So, and you are helping facilitate as town manager, but you're not actually a voting member of the committee.
No, Mary is a voting member.
Great. Okay. So then I'll go as Ed Sharma, and I am the chair of the committee, Republican side.
Sandy Kelly, the Democrat at large, citizen.
Citizen.
Steve Slattery, the Republican at large citizen.
And then Mary Hogan from the library, the town staff member appointed to the committee.
Missing is Mimi Thoreau, the Democratic counselor for the committee. All right, great. Ray, we probably need a brush up, a refresher on kind of like procedurally what we do. I don't think we make motions and approve things, but we make recommendations for council to consider. No? How does that work?
Yeah, the town charter is silent on how you operate, but basically you have 5 members and you have a bunch of names for the Straska Farm, and you have a name for a memorial naming for Old Forge. And simply you look at the names. If you like them, you vote on which one you want to recommend to the town council. And it's as simple as that. The charter is silent on everything except how this committee is organized.
And so the viewers at home, we all get packets, and the application for naming is not very involved. It's a 1-page that just requests a location, a street, a building, a tree, a chair to be named after, to be named as something or after someone. And there's a space for that name. And then the individual making the request, and that gets submitted to the town manager. The town manager brings it to the attention of this naming committee. And so there's, like I said, there's not a lot of, it's not like there was a request put out to the public to request names for these locations. These come in at will from the general public. Is that right, Ray?
Yeah, actually, the town council did put out a request. Now, probably about a month ago, the last call for naming Straska Farm. And we did have forms online, and we put it out on our website because people have been submitting names for Straska Farm for, God, a year or longer.
Okay, so there was a request out on that one. Okay, great.
There was just to make sure that people had the opportunity, for what I call the last call.
Oh, all right. All right, good to know. Good to know.
And so we have 7 names for Straska Farm and 1 for Old Forge.
Okay, and I just want to give the committee members an opportunity to ask questions. I know I jumped in there, but Sandy, any questions for Ray?
I do. I have a question on the process, and I want to say, first of all, I have no issues with the Old Forge renaming. However, I'm looking at our process. It says, make a form available to nominate a facility. Then on section 36-4, it says, nothing prohibits the mayor or council from recognizing individuals by proclamations, official statements, or similar official acts. My only question is, this is a letter from a policeman, a sergeant, requesting this. I think we need to be sure on that process, because I think this is our first go, and it's important that we set the correct precedent, so that this kind of opens the door for anybody to send a letter and say, I want to rename a street. I have a question on that process. I think maybe because the nominations, it strictly says municipal facilities. And I'm not trying to be semantic. I'm just trying to follow the process. So in 10 years, when this happens, or 5 years, it's clear how to do this. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think that particular officer lives in Rocky Hill, no?
Well, that's not the point. The point is and I'll call it a random letter. It's a very qualified letter. It's a lovely letter, but it's a random letter from someone. Oh, he doesn't even live in town. I don't know if that's an issue, but it's a random letter saying, let's rename this street. It's not accompanied by a recommendation from the council or the mayor, as stated in 36-4. It's, it's just kind of, well, here's a letter and let's do this. And again, I have nothing against renaming it for this individual. I'm looking at what could happen next. If this is how we handle it, send a letter and we'll do it. Does that, you understand what I'm saying? Because this is our first go, and this is the time to do it by a process.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Steve, you want to chime in at all?
I guess I think that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
You know, if I'm new to this as well, and I think that what we should be careful not to set the wrong precedent. I agree with Sandy that I certainly have no objection to the naming of this particular street, but I do think that we should be careful not to jump on, just because we all agree on this particular one, not to set a precedent that we're going to regret down the road, or that we're going to kind of set tracks that we're not, that are not appropriate. So I do understand some of her concerns in that respect, although I wholeheartedly agree with this particular renaming.
Just let me jump in for a minute. It's not a renaming of the road. It's more of a
Is it like
plaquing, like a memorial sign, keep the road name the same, but name it like the Memorial Highway.
It says a request that Old Forge be named in his honor.
I know. It doesn't say change the name. I would not change the name of Old Forge Road. I would put a plaque up that says in honor of, how they do it on the.
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere. So what is the criteria for renaming a road then?
There are none. We had Steve Sopelak check it out statewide, and each town does it differently.
Should they fill out a form?
They could fill out a form.
I think
we have forms online. I mean, a form or a letter.
I
don't want to overcomplicate this process. It's a very simple process. If you don't like the name, then you don't recommend it. If you like the name, you recommend it. If you think you need something different, then you just don't vote on it.
Well, I would certainly support it. And as I've said, it's the third time I'm repeating myself. It's not the individual, it's the process.
Right. But there is no process.
And I think that's not good. Don't we always have to have a process?
Well, the process is, if you want to name Straska Farm something, then you fill out a form and you submit it.
Exactly. That's the process.
I guess we can go back and we can tell Officer Gutsfeld, you have to fill out a form.
How about if just, like it says here, the mayor of the town council, But of course, then you're talking a majority. I'm not trying to complicate
It's
this.
the committee, the naming committee recommends to the town council votes.
I'd like to hear from Mary Hogan because she might have
I-
some experience or history with this.
No, well, I don't have too much, but I guess my question was, is a road a facility? Because this is a facility naming committee, right? Or is that semantics? But I get it. Once Ray said that it's just an honorary sign, like I think there's one on Elm Street and there's one on Glastonbury or something. So I'd be more concerned about renaming a street, but it's just a sign. And I guess anybody could come forward with a application and say, can, designate a sign in honor of somebody.
Right.
And hearing what Ray said, I mean, I definitely would approve this. I also think that the sergeant didn't he fill it? He filled out the form as well as submitted the letter. I think the form was attached
Yeah.
to his letter.
Right,
so-
you're
so-
right.
Oh,
So I think he did comply with the,
you're right.
so if that's the only process that's required, then I don't think we need to worry about process. It's been complied with. And I think that, if we're all in agreement, I think that, we should approve it. The form is attached to the letter. So I think he did it more as a supplement, explaining why he felt the way he did. But I think he did comply, hearing with what Ray said, that he did comply with the limited process that we do have in place.
I apologize. I think this was so far down in my email, the second part of this. So I rest my case.
Yeah, and
And I'm
And-
sorry to take all your time, and I'll
No,
be honest about it.
Sandy, but I do agree with you that we just want to be careful. I think we're all conscientious. We don't want somebody from across the state recommending a name change in our town, but that being said, I think what we're doing here is we have an application for a town resident to be honored with a plaque, Chief Joseph P. Gray Memorial Highway, to be put up on Old Forge Road. And I think if we're all in agreement, we can make that recommendation to council to consider it for action, put it on the agenda and send it up to them, because we really don't have the officer renaming them, just submitting, bringing to our attention a resident that, and filling out the correct application on the family's behalf. So, maybe we're okay with that, but I do like that we took our time to think this through a little bit.
And oh, sorry, this is Mary. I think we do make a motion. It's just the motion says we recommend to the council
Yeah.
to approve this.
And I think the process would be a little more involved if there were multiple people trying to rename Old Forge. I think the purpose of our committee is actually to sort through multiple names that people have submitted for certain buildings and then make the recommendation, rather than, I don't think we even have the, I don't know where we would have the authority to say, let it go to the town council if there's only one name. I feel like our purpose is really to sort out what names are being proposed for a certain facility or a certain road. And in a situation where it's only one application, it would appear that, as long as we're all in agreement, I think it goes. I suppose, and maybe I misspoke, if we all were in agreement that it should go forward, then potentially, then it wouldn't go forward. But with only one name being there, and us all being in agreement, I think the process has been followed. And if we all are in agreement, then it would go to the town council to hash it out.
I agree. I mean, we're here, I think we all agree, and just send it on to the council, and hopefully it'll be all affirmative votes and it'll be easy.
So do you want me to make the motion? So I'll make the motion that we send to the council to approve this application, or I don't have it in front of me, so I don't want to read out the exact same thing, but maybe is Daniel taking notes? He can fill it in of what we're.
I can read it if you'd like. It's a motion to approve the application to rename Old Forge Road, the Chief Joseph R. Gray Memorial Highway. And I believe that covers it.
Second, Are we,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so that name is recommended to council for the agenda, Ray?
I was muted, I'm sorry. Did you you didn't vote to rename the road?
No, to send to the council.
No, just to approve the application. So approve the application to go forward to council.
Good, okay. All right,
So now we have the Streska Farm, but just before we jump into the Streska Farm, I was expecting that I don't know where I heard this, but I thought there were 20 or something applications for Streska names, and there's only 7. Did I get all 7 or all 20?
now you heard it from me. A lot of these names were repetitious, they were repeats, so I weeded them out.
Okay,
Yeah, there were several people who submitted names several times throughout the course of the past year and a half or so.
understood. And so then only one other question is, do the applications, when they come in from wherever they come in they're supposed to go to the town manager, correct? Is that the way that it works?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then the town manager keeps a file and then brings it to the attention of, if he has 1 or he or she has 1 or 2, in our case, you, Ray, if you have 1 or 2 or 3, you let the naming committee know.
Correct. I would let you know as chair, hey, Ed, we
As
have, we have a few names here. What do you want to do? You want to have a meeting or do you want to?
I have a naming request form that was submitted on June 16th of 2022. That's not in the packet. So it was submitted to then town manager Mayor. So I kept a copy because I was CC'd on it. And it attaches the article of facilities. I'll bring it to you, but obviously we can't consider it tonight.
is that for Straska?
No,
Okay,
All right.
it's another topic, but so I was just wondering, because this went in on, like I said, June 16th.
Okay.
But in any event, I'll go ahead and bring it to your attention later, and then the committees. All right. So I suppose we're moving to Streska, which has seven different requests.
Which one, you want to start with, are they numbered on the attachments that you have?
They are numbered, yep.
Right, let's start with number 1, and they're not in any type of priority order. I just put them in,
Yep.
random order, number 1. Let's open here.
question, do I recuse myself from voting on this since I have an entry?
I knew that was gonna come up.
Um,
If that's the case, should we wait until we have Mimi? I don't know. I mean, maybe since this is a more not contentious, but more, obviously there's multiple names and multiple issues. Maybe it makes more sense to have a complete discussion when we have a complete committee, particularly if Sandy maybe has a conflict on one of them.
That would mean we would have to just adjourn the meeting and reschedule it. Right?
I mean, maybe that makes sense with it being multiple submissions, and I honestly missed that Sandy had submitted one. I didn't read the names.
So I
just read the names of the farm.
Yeah, I would be, and I appreciate it, Sandy, you saying that, and Steve, you make a good point about getting Mimi, then important of having maybe Mimi attend. And maybe we would be able to do this live in person at the chamber, which we will. But I'm in favor of at least getting the 7 apps at least read into the record, because we are meeting. So right now we have
Makes sense.
proposal 1 for the Streska Farm, and the name requested is Rocky Hill Community Farm, and it's requested by Mr. Ed Chiccarillo. So that's proposal 1. Proposal 2. is for Streska Farm, and the name requested is Ridge Hill Farm. And the individual requesting that particular name is Antoinette Papa. Proposal number 3. For the Streska Farm, the name requested is the Streska Farm No Change. The individual requesting the name is Ms. K.M. Bartle. Now, there's additional notes, but I think we could take that up when we get into discussion. Right now, I just want to make sure that folks who went through the effort of making an app know and have proof that we're acknowledging receipt, and it's in the record. So that's proposal 3. Proposal 4
Upside down.
is upside down, but I can flip it. Streska Farm, and sometimes at least the Yukon proposal might make it and turn it into a Garden of Eden, but the name requested is Eden, E-D-E-N, by
Aaron
Aaron Schollenberger.
Schollenberg.
Schellenberg, or some variation.
Or some variation of Eden, Eden Farm, Eden on the Hill, Eden at Rocky Hill. Proposal number 5. For the former farm on New Britain Avenue, Streska Farm, the name requested West Acres, a Rocky Hill Municipal Facility. And that was requested by Marilyn T. Pittman. Proposal 6. Streska Farm. The name requested is Rocky Hill Community Farm, Elaine Sellenberg. And the final proposal 7 for the former Streska Farm, the name requested Rocky Hill Community Farm by Sandy Kelly. So seven forms completed correctly, and we did do the public announcement, and we gave time for everybody to get them in. So we're under no particular obligation to wait, other than to, this is the first time the committee is seeing these. So maybe just time to review them and get our other committee member with us. So we might, if the sentiment is there by the other committee members, then I would recommend that we table this one until our next meeting.
I would agree.
I'd agree.
And then, and so then there's only one other note, and that is, which probably some people in the audience might be wondering about, is there is a barn proposed for the site, and we do know that I believe our application's already coming in to name that barn that is not there. So that's a technicality in the sense that we can't name something that's not there. So it's not in our packet and it's not being considered. That does not mean that we have not received requests and that we do not have them. Is that correct, Town Manager?
I believe you are correct, Mr. Chairman.
Awesome. All right, anybody else have anything? Go around the horn one other time, Sandy or
No,
Mary?
awesome, thanks.
No, set.
all right.
All set.
I really appreciate everybody jumping to the quick to do the Zoom meeting, because the original one was canceled. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
do we have to set our next meeting date, Ray?
You can't set it now because we need to coordinate with the calendar. I don't think it's going to be at the beginning of the new year.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Good night, everyone. Thank
Night.
you.
Night.
everyone.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.